Well, my dear, what a day it has been! Quite marvellous. That storm this morning, my word, quite tremendous indeed. On my way to the Swain Manor, I amused myself by watching the lightning strike the houses. Such fun! Oh, and as I was coming up the lane, a cottage was reduced to mere rubble. I told Mrs. Swain about it in her breakfast room. She said that the house belonged to her dear under-gardener. I've quite forgotten his name. No matter. As long as it doesn't affect his gardening. My dear, Mrs. Swain's hollyhocks are to be most admired. Lord Footwell enjoyed the Swain garden. Don't worry about me, dear. I mean, he was terrible at choosing his wardrobe. I told him countless times that Xandu and Gamboge do not go together, but would he listen? The breakfast Mrs. Swain served this morning was most delicious. You know how I love kidneys. Then who should come in through the window, drenched from head to toe, and wearing his tennis clothes, no less, was Charles. No doubt to see dear Betty. Mrs. Swain's daughter? Yes, you must remember how he looked at her last April at the country ball. His affections haven't changed a jot. I try to encourage them in my little ways. But Mrs. Swain is so obtuse about it all. She seems to think him unsuitable. I told her that she would not find one more suitable, or one as persistent, or one in as much love with her as Charles. Yes. Well, then the conversation turned to one that I couldn't stand, dear. Couldn't stand. So I took my leave and took a turn about the drawing room. What a marvellous room it is, my dear. Such a gorgeous view of the garden. Quite. I was settling down to spend some time there, when in pops a gentleman wearing a ragged assortment of clothing, who bustles me back into the breakfast room, and joins his equally dressed companion, who consequently shoot each other. Good gracious, my dear. I mean, just never in my life have I ever experienced such a complete and utter lack of self-control. Well, now that I think about it, dear, my day wasn't all as exciting as I first made it out to be. I hope I haven't bored you, dear. More tea?